Okay, so here we are today for our first legislative committee Board of Education meeting. And the committee members are Adam Kleinberg and David Kasten, and our administrative person on the board is Anne-Marie Moron-Caliendo. So thank everybody for coming to the meeting today.
Sure.
I wanted to just discuss first like the vision of this committee. In the past, this committee has always been more of a liaison to PTA Council's legislative committee. And when Eric appointed me to this committee, I didn't really know that going into it. And I basically had a different vision of what I saw this committee as. If you go to one of the handouts that I had given, I saw, when I went to the board training, because every new board member has to go to 20 hours of training, so when I did that over the summer, part of, we are the structure of like the public education in New York State, like we are, if you take a triangle and you turn it upside down, like we are the school board of education, like we're part of the government, and we're part of, like we're on the local level. So part of how I visioned it, and even after seeing this, is part of our roles and responsibilities is to be, representative of our community, because they're the people that elected us, to be a leader, and, to be an advocate. So I looked at this committee as more as being an advocate for what's going on, like legislatively, and not just, being, liaison to the PTA. It's great to have liaisons to the PTA to bring back to the board what's going on, but I looked at this as more of a working committee, and especially since I was given two lawyers, I'm the chairperson, I was given two lawyers on the committee, and just figured that, I would not waste the opportunity to be able to use your expertise and your knowledge in, what we can do as far as advocating for our community. Because even, I was at the school board's convention over the week, the past couple of days, and in one of the sessions I was in yesterday that was talking about how the school board affects the culture of the community. And there was a school board president from Roosevelt, and they were talking about how, they're calling it Roosevelt Rising because they were in such, trouble in the past. And as a former teacher of Roosevelt, because, it was funny to see these people because I didn't really know them, but to see some of the people in the video that, like, I actually worked with was really interesting. But what he was saying is, we're, as Board of Education members, we wear several hats, and our hands are tied by what the laws are, but we're also advocates for our community, and that we have to, we walk a fine line when it comes to certain, aspects of what's going on. So I just figured that we would try it out this year and see how it works, since we really don't have any guidelines on this committee on like what it's supposed to be, because what it's always been doesn't mean that that's the way it's always has to be. Sometimes change is good, and shake it up and let's see what happens. And going forward, if this doesn't work, then we can go back to the way it was before. But I figured just give it, a year and see how it goes.
Sure, sounds good to me. Sounds like the right committee for David and I to be part of.
And that's what I said when I saw that, as I'm the chairperson and I have, two
Okay.
lawyers, how could I not?
Free legal advice, it's perfect.
That's right, what we can and can't do. So
Get what you pay for though, just keep that in mind.
So the first item on the agenda is the Vanderbilt traffic study. And I don't know if you were aware, which you don't really have information on that, because I actually just got it last night. I don't know if you were aware, and I'm sure Ms. Moron-Caliendo, are you aware of this?
Yes.
Over this summer, I guess, the PTA Council President, Wendy Natalone, sits on the round table with all the elementary presidents. And Robin Leviton and Nancy Sue are the presidents of Vanderbilt, and they came to Wendy about doing a traffic study. And I'm sure they didn't just go to Wendy, but it was like the whole process, but they figured they would get the PTA involved with the flow of traffic in front of Vanderbilt School. And what actually happened was that actually...
Why did they believe that they needed one?
Because of the because of the closures of the schools, and because of the pickup and the drop off, the flow of traffic was just not, like, cars were lined up down 231, and they just felt that it wasn't safe.
Okay.
So I will read to you the email, how it came about, and then I will let you know the actual email that Wendy put out, and I will make copies for everybody on this.
There was a traffic study years ago, because I believe it was cited in the school closing petition and stuff. So this would be an updated traffic study?
Yes,
Did they commission an actual study?
yes, well, I'll read you the letter that Wendy wrote. This is the letter that Wendy actually wrote. Wendy had done something many years ago, as far as a traffic study, and she was in like the newspaper, and so I guess Rob and Nancy went to her, and it was called Watchdog that she was in. She put out like I'll just read you her exact letter. So it says, "Dear," she sent this one. She had sent this to Senator Marcelino. So it says, "Dear Sir, Madam, my name is Wendy Natalone. I wrote this column several years ago regarding traffic light changes, specifically, it was for like a left turn arrow on westbound on Dix Hills Road in Huntington Station." So she writes, I'm writing to you presently as the president of the Half Hollow Hills PTA. Prior to the beginning of the past school year, the Half Hollow Hills Central School District, due to declining enrollment, closed 2 of its elementary schools. The remaining elementary schools absorbed the children from the schools that were closed. Vanderbilt Elementary School is one of the schools that absorbed a large portion of the student population from Forest Park Elementary School. I'm sure as the council president, I have received numerous complaints and concerns from the parents of children attending Vanderbilt Elementary School. Many parents drive their children to school in the morning and also pick them up at the end of the day. Many of the parents, in order to get to school, come down Route 231 southbound and have to make a U-turn at Wolf Hill Road in order to get to the school, which is located on the east side of Route 231. Unfortunately, there is no left turn and no U-turn signal at Deer Park Avenue. So many of the parents, even buses that need to make a U-turn to get there, and it has become a dangerous situation. Route 231 is an extremely busy state route. There are many trucks and cars that travel on that section of the route every day. It is very difficult and also dangerous to make a U-turn. Since there are children involved and since their well-being is paramount, I urge you to investigate this for our community and try to help. So what Wendy had done with this.
So the goal is to get some sort of traffic signal in?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear on what the purpose is,
It
not...
It allows a U-turn, in other words, you're just saying it's dangerous without a light or some signal?
Yes, and then
Okay.
also when you're coming out of Vanderbilt,
Yes,
you can only go...
you can only make a right.
Right. No,
Yeah.
or
You
you
can only
can
go
cross
north.
over. You can cross over going southbound, but like the actual buses like cross, like there's like a little section.
Or they can come out and make a left.
Yes.
Okay.
So what Wendy did was
I was
wrote.
just confused, so it's not revisiting, it's not revisiting school closing stuff, it is more, this is the situation we have, and we're concerned about safety at those two areas.
That turn, I
Yes.
guess.
Perfect, okay.
So that's what she wanted to do. So she wrote to Newsday and to the New York State Department of Transportation, and she also emailed Senator Marcelino and Assemblyman Lupinacci about this. And she said that she'll send me copies of those emails. She didn't have copies of those emails because it went through the New York State email system, so it wasn't through her personal email.
Right.
She said that Robert Conte, Senator Marcelino's assistant, called her, and they spoke a couple of times, and that Senator Marcelino also sent a letter to the Department of Transportation on our behalf that he was going to, and that he also contacted Mrs. Fallon to make sure that she was aware of the situation. So as of right now, that's basically where we're at, and Lupinacci's office sent a response that they're also looking into it.
Okay.
So everybody's kind of looking into this right now, and I don't really have any further updates unless.
Do you
No, I don't have
believe,
anything, I don't know more than that.
Okay.
do you believe that us emailing, calling, whatever it is, as a board committee would help push that along more than just the PTA effort?
Maybe, and that's why I would like us to just look into it and, look into more of it, because I just got these emails, 'cause I really just found out about it, and,
Okay.
I contacted Wendy last night,
Okay.
and she sent me all this information, so I really haven't had time to really, get into, the meat and potatoes of it all, but I just think that's something that we should really look at, especially since it's one of our schools.
Has the district been involved in this at all? Have
No,
we written
we-
letters at all?
No, we found out through the Marcelino outreach.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't think it's probably not a problem for us as a committee to, or as a board and, present it to the board as a whole, that we wanna write a letter. I don't think that would be a problem, I'm sure the school would do the same.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I know I've seen,
It's a safety issue.
people posting the long lines, the bad weather, drop off at Vanderbilt, and I've dropped off at Vanderbilt, and I'm not saying it's every day, because I don't drop off that often at Vanderbilt. But I don't view this as just because I've seen people say, oh, tell your kids to take the bus. I don't view this as just we have a lot of kids drop off. It is, whether it's safe or not. I know we saw what happened out east with
Yes,
the turnaround, so.
with the limo, yes.
You gotta be careful of those things. Okay, yeah, it makes sense to me.
There is, once they make that left turn, there is a safe distance where you can merge on, but we all know that when people are in a rush, and I'm just talking people in general, people will
Right.
fly out and, people unless they don't think of, they just think of getting to where they have to go.
Okay, sure.
So I would just, I think that would be something I would just like to
Yeah.
look into.
Okay.
And the next item on the agenda is the rest stop on the Long Island Expressway.
Right.
Now, that rest stop has been, spoken to, that's also, I don't have that.
Oh, okay.
That, you could,
That's
here,
okay,
you
tell us.
could, here, you could look at all this, cause I have this. The rest stop on, Emery, do you have that, information? Cause I can just email you, since you have your laptop, I can just email that to you right now. Or you could just take a minute to look at that.
No, I don't.
This is where they put out a bid and nobody knew about it
Yes.
until after the fact, and then they
Well, be-
suspended it for now, right?
Right, so I just wanted to let everybody know, and if you could just pass that to Emily as well. I mean, if you're on Legislator Steve Stern's email list, that's how I received all this,
Right.
because I'm on his list. And so basically, right now, it's at a stop, but that's something that will definitely affect our community. If they put that rest stop there, I mean, they talked about the emissions, and if you have trucks idling there, that will affect, because that rest stop is right in between, all of our schools, and, it will affect us in one way or another.
So
it's something-
environmental concerns?
Yes. Environmental concerns, people at rest stops, I'm not saying anything about, people who stop at rest stops, but it's just, a long time ago, they were not happy with having that rest stop there.
Sure.
To use our, our community, basically, to just, basically stop in the middle, going out east or wherever it is. It's just, there's plenty of other places where they could put a rest stop, and I know that, they tried a while ago, and then they,
I'm
They
just thinking
stopped
about
it.
from a school perspective, what,
It's fairly close to a couple of buildings.
yes,
That was the issue for the
because
community and
it's
the
right by
district.
Otsego.
Right. But, I mean, at the present time, as far as I've heard, it's on hold.
Yes.
Is there, by hold, does that mean they're looking at another location? Or is the
Well,
hold?
the letter from, the letter that Steve Stern put out in August, and the reason why I'm bringing this up, because this is something that I had said that I wanted to look at.
Mm-hmm,
So I just wanted to, just put it on record that we will just keep an eye on it.
yeah,
The letter that Steve Stern had sent out, Legislator Steve Stern, on August 24th said, Dear neighbors, I am writing to update you regarding the proposed rest stop on the Long Island Expressway. As a result of strong opposition and a united effort by myself, Senator John Flanagan, Assemblyman Andrew Rea, Supervisor Frank Petrone, and Councilwoman Susan Berlin, New York State has suspended the proposal for bids for this project at this time. Our discussions with the Governor's Office and the State Department of Transportation officials continue, and I will keep you updated. So it's at a stop right now. It doesn't mean that it's not gonna happen again.
I'm almost taking for granted that we all believe it would be a bad thing to put it there. But if we do all believe that, then do we reach out to Stern and see if there's anything we can do to support it?
I guess, that's why I was asking, is it just sort of on hold? Is it, I don't know if you guys have heard anything more directly, but probably not.
No,
Is it on hold? Are they looking at another location now? Like, what's the current status of, other than it's on hold?
That's.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Do we,
How do we, but let's say the three of us say we don't like it, and let's say, Emery, if you say you think it's bad for whatever reasons, and I don't know what you think, then what do? We bring it to the full board and say, this is our position, we'd like to contact?
yes,
Okay.
yeah, we would present to the board, and the board would, as a whole, try to make a decision as to how we want to proceed, whether it be by a letter or a phone
Okay.
call or something. But obviously, we'd be in support of this rest stop being anywhere else, but right near the middle of, in the middle of our district and near the schools.
Because it's really, it's centrally like right in the middle
Yeah,
of
it's
our
right
district.
there. And I had heard there was some talk about moving it, further east, and I think that was what the plan is, so.
I agree with Stephanie, I think probably makes sense to, even if it's on hold, let's be a little vocal now and try
And we
to
should
further push it.
probably want to put it on record that we're also opposed to it, just like everybody else is.
Okay.
But although we can't, as a board, we can't just go out and do that, like that would be, like Eric would have to, we would have to
We'd have to do it
bring,
as a full board.
Okay.
right, and we would
Yeah,
have
we
to
can't really
discuss
take
it.
action, but we
So
certainly.
we can say at the next board meeting or whenever you're ready to say, here's what the legislative committee met, discussed, and here's
Right,
what
the
we're.
next board meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
you
Yeah, I would-
present a summary of, the fact that the committee is certainly on board with putting out a letter that sort of says, me too. We also, as everybody else indicate, we're opposed, just as they are.
Yeah, and Emery, are there any issues you see other than environmental, it's close to the building, noise, traffic safety, any
I think that's it.
financial issues?
I don't think so.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So we
Sounds
can
good.
tax each of those cars that visits. Then we talk.
Yeah,
Convenience
Bring it
tax.
back to the finance, right? That's good.
you'll be out there collecting.
I'll be happy to
Yeah,
assign
Ruth be out
someone.
there, no, she'll be out there herself,
Probably.
We'll set up a little toll booth.
And then, also part of, my vision for this committee was that when, let's say, Legislator Steve Stern is speaking about a legislative issue, or Senator Flanagan, or Marcelino, or Lupinacci, that these are
Right, if
things
we
that
know about it, yeah.
we should go, or that, as chairperson, like, I'll go and bring the information back, just to be proactive, just to be there to hear whatever the information is, like, on the forefront, and not, like, just be proactive instead of reactive. It's
No,
always,
it's great.
a good thing.
We should know what they're talking about.
Exactly.
Okay, good.
Okay, and the final one is the Healthy Hungry Kids Act. I know that Ms. Maroon Caliendo has worked very, very hard on this last year. Because the issue had come up with this Healthy Hungry Kids Act, that in our school district, you're not, all across the board, you're not permitted to sell anything other than what's been approved until 30 minutes after the school day. So at the high school level, the booster clubs, the actual clubs that raise money by selling pizza after
Anything.
school or whatever it is, they're not permitted, but they're permitted to sell, but it has to be from a specific list of items.
Okay.
They even went as far as last year looking to get whole grain pizza, but they wouldn't be able to make any money at that point. Because and actually the PTA of High School East, they actually do use, they had a line item where they would sell after school, and that was part of their budget, that they would make money, to fund other programs with that.
I don't think you're gonna make a lot of money selling whole grain pizza.
No.
I don't either.
I think they tried, and it didn't really work. So I know it's a law.
I don't eat regular
Mac.
pizza, so I'm saying that someone will has to eat it, because I don't eat dinner.
Mm.
It's gross.
So you
So
can
more
imagine how
money.
the kids feel.
I do,
That's the
I'm
issue.
sympathetic to it, absolutely.
Right.
Because even with our own school food program, at the nutrition meeting, Mrs. Maroon Caliendo even brought up how it's hard to be, we're finding it hard to even sustain what we do now, because it's a self-sustaining program, and it's hard to even sustain it because of all the guidelines that are now implemented, that students are not buying lunch like they used to.
Right.
You know, they want that bagel, they want that Big Daddy pizza, they want like the things that they want, and they're really not buying it anymore, or as much as they were in the past, because of the way the specific rules are that have to be
Yeah.
followed.
We just took the budget numbers, it's a loss.
Exactly.
Oh, so you discussed it in the budget, the
Yeah.
actual?
Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah,
numbers.
Oh,
the
so what-
sales are down
Sales are down.
for
so
exactly those
It's
reasons.
a loss, kids don't wanna eat it, and, you know, it's whole wheat, yuck.
Although they make whole grain white, so like for my son, like sometimes I'll give him that and he doesn't really know the difference, but,
Right. You can make it look the same.
but,
Okay.
you know, but even like, you know, they want the cookies, like the, you know,
Right.
whatever it is, and and I understand to follow the
So
guidelines
what can
during
we,
the day.
what can we?
So what's the goal here?
Well, what I did was, there was a webinar, and now this is, again, you know, outdated information, because that was in August, but I
Right.
had passed out, information that you have there.
This says this act expires September
Yes,
30th, so did
yes.
they renew it? What?
Not yet. So now that the act expires, and this was part of the webinar that I had, and I tried to be able to print out the entire, webinar, but it wouldn't let me, so what I had to do is I had to like cut and paste pieces,
Mhm.
and that's why you see what
That's
you
what we
have
have here,
there.
right?
Yeah, so if you see, and then also there's a statement from the New York School Boards Association on school nutrition and the Healthy Hungry Free Kids Act.
Right.
So there's information on it, and I know that Ms. Maroon Caliendo really exhausted, you know, many hours last year of looking into it, that there wasn't anything that we can do. But I just figured, especially since it expires, that, you know, perhaps there is something, because they also said that, you know, maybe we can somehow, Christy Gillibrand had
Yeah.
said something that, you know, as far as having local control. And every district is unique. In our district, we have, you know, we're a AAA district, so we have students that stay after school for plays, whether they're in the stage crew, whether they're, you know, the actors. You have students that stay after for academics, whether it's, you know, clubs, whether it's extra help, whether it's returning back for, you know, other items.
Right, so this waiver that School Board Association is urging Congress to adopt, that would be a waiver for schools that can't comply without incurring a net loss. We've incurred a net loss this year.
Which we use the fund balance to cover.
And just to be clear, I mean, I'm all for healthy foods, I try to eat very healthy myself, but, you know, there's certain things that just don't taste good.
Right, but see, the other thing is that you're waiting, like you can sell everything at 2:30, but those students that are staying after for sports, or if they're staying after for arts, or they're staying after for academics, by 2:30, they have to be either on the
Practice,
field,
Right,
or they have to be in their club, and some of those students won't get home until 6, 7 o'clock at night.
Right.
So now you have that high schooler who has lunch at 9:30 in the morning, when
Mhm.
people are really eating breakfast at that time. They can grab something at 2 o'clock, you know, from a vending machine, or the whole grain pizza that, you know, Adam has told us doesn't really taste well.
Right.
And then they really don't eat again until they go. It's basically, you know,
so there's gotta be a medium between healthy food and stuff that
And
kids
stuff you
actually
can't
wanna
eat, right.
Okay, do you think that,
It looks like there's a proposal for them to try to
yeah,
do something about that.
you know, to give local control. And if that's the case, you know, I understand, you know, during the school day, but once that bell rings at 2 o'clock and students are headed towards the buses, you know, those students that need to stay, go to the cafeteria, why can't they, you know, grab a slice of pizza? I know if we have to, you know, have certain regulations where you can't have donuts, you know, I understand, you know,
Yeah, but unfortunately I mean, as it stands now, it's out of our control.
yes.
So I guess if the senator is able to do something with this, then we can.
maybe we
Get on
can
board.
write a letter to Senator Gillibrand explaining that we've been complying. We went from, and I don't remember the numbers that were set at the budget, I didn't write it down, but we were
Oh, yeah.
Basically breaking even or so, or at a small
Just
loss.
small loss last
Right,
year.
so small
It was
loss.
almost sustaining itself to be
Okay,
a
so it's almost
decent-sized loss.
self-sufficient, now we're complying and we're operating at a $130,000 deficit in order to comply with this law. So maybe if we give our story, I know politicians love to pick out, oh, and I was just thinking of this
Right.
guy the other day who I met, maybe we can be that
This
example
district, yeah.
that,
You
you know,
can use
we're,
us as their, yeah, it sounds like we could certainly be a part of helping her or help support what she's trying to do.
so I
Maybe
guess.
there's some middle ground with
Right,
something
because
that's
we have to
healthy
think
and tastes
about
good.
like all our children. You know, the children that are going home at 2 o'clock, we can't stop what they're eating when they go home. But those children that are staying here for activities after school, you know, they're still our responsibility.
And also, this was a relatively new act, so, you know.
It's probably gonna be tweaked anyway,
Right,
and
it
that's
needs
what
to be
she's trying to
tweaked,
do.
yeah,
I mean,
okay.
it seems like that's what she's trying to do. If you wanna back what she's doing, that sounds great. I mean, this was dated September. Do we have any idea what's going on with this?
No,
Okay.
not yet, but I will definitely look into it and I'll
Yeah.
have an update for our
Okay.
next meeting. You know, our board, actually at the board meeting, if I
Great.
have an update by
So
then.
maybe, Emery, if you could just email Steph the difference in the numbers from,
Oh, sure.
you know, the last couple of years, so then if the board agrees, maybe we can put together a letter, even if they've done something already on the agricultural committee, who knows, maybe.
Wouldn't hurt to have our letter in their file that says, we agree, you know, they get support from a local district.
Right, and what we're really asking, no, we're not asking to do anything during the school day. What we're talking about is we're talking after school.
Well, maybe there's a way, maybe they can simply expand what they're allowing us to do as opposed to, because they're never gonna wipe it away. You know,
Right.
Maybe there's some
No,
expansion
No, they should.
that they'll allow us to do something, you know, because if they're not eating anything,
Right.
you know, then obviously that's not working. And then there's some
And they
middle
might be
ground.
bringing stuff from home that's worse
Worse.
than if we could find something that's maybe
Not
here
as
on the healthy
objectionable.
end.
Right.
But you're also talking about those students that are, what if they're an athlete, let's say, they're not worried, you wouldn't be worried about that athlete eating pizza because they're gonna go to practice
You're gonna burn it off
and
anyway.
burn it off. Or the person that's, you know, a dancer, you know, doing a skit in a play, they're gonna be
Right.
burning it off, or the stage crew, whatever it is.
Right.
Because it's
The
that,
truth is, the kids that are here for the sports are probably not the kids we need to be worried about.
right, but even like the kids that also that are there for the theater, or, you know, even academics, it's called
They're still active.
the hungry free, like
Yeah.
now those kids are here and they're hungry, because I know for my son, when he comes home, he's starving.
Right,
Yeah.
but but the $130,000 is a real big number.
It's an issue.
It's gonna hurt us if we don't try and do something, so
Right.
I agree with you.
I have to imagine every district is gonna
Absolutely.
do that. I mean, we were probably one of the few that was.
A lot of districts farm out the work. They contract
Right,
out
they bring
because
in
they
other-
just don't want to deal with it.
Okay.
And then I've spoken to other people, like in other school districts, and of course, we want to comply with the law. At 2 o'clock, they sell whatever they need to sell, because when I was discussing it with a few colleagues, they said that they never even heard of this.
Right, just
So
not
it's-
following the law.
They're not following the law.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay, got a lot of letters today.
We have a lot of letters to write.
Hey,
Come on, you're the attorney.
I know.
I don't know, like, that jargon that needs to be, I mean, I could write, but not, you know.
The truth is, if they're written in English, they're a lot better.
I agree. Okay, cool.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Does anybody have anything else to add?
Good work. Oh, it's good to stay on top of what the local legislators are doing as well, so it's a good plan.
So I will ask permission at the next board meeting to
Mhm.
read I will, you know, from Eric, to reach out to Steve Stern just to let him know what we're doing
Yeah. We
with
want
with
to support
this.
what they're doing in terms of the Vanderbilt issue, the rest of, yeah, we want to support all these things that are going on around us. It's good that we have a committee to organize that.
Right, because, you know, what's the point of having a legislative committee then?
No, it's perfect. It's a good idea. I mean, we have the local legislators out there pursuing our interests, but they should know that we're standing behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like you said, having those letters, you know, we could be one of those stories that they use to say, hey, look, this is a district where this, you know, the Hungry Kids Act, it's just not working.
Mm-hmm, exactly. It works, you know, it's gotta be tweaked. All you have to do is just be like the the pebble in the pond that begins like the ripple.
If they get enough of these types, or enough of the districts like us in the area to help support these things, maybe they'll get some more of it.
Mm-hmm,
Okay,
all right.
thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.